that dog shit pick. What the fuck were we thinking? What the fuck were you thinking? Welcome all to another episode of the Jimnasium. As always, it's me, XFL Jim, joined by the one, the only. It is Chase, LUPINE FIASCO, Sessoms, a.k.a. Lil Bob Wischusen. What's up, my man?
What up? Thank you for pronouncing it right. I get sad whenever you either don't say the name at all or don't pronounce it right, but you just did both of those things and knocked it out of the park. Hot take. I'm going to start this off with a hot take real quick.
Okay.
Maria Taylor is bumped up, right?
Mm-hmm.
Joe Burrow did it after the national championship game with his eyes, and she's slowly been gestating one of Joe Burrow's super babies because it takes so long for a Joe Burrow super baby to gestate.
Probably also if it's like entirely visual, that takes a little bit longer as well, I would
say. Yeah. When you do it with your eyes, yeah, totally. Because I remember the looks he was giving her right after that game. I was like, they're gonna, or he at least wants to. He's at least gonna try to.
So many great images and video that came after that LSU national championship
of his just fuck eyes that he put
the
in
fuck
everybody,
eyes, and like I think him smoking a cigar is just iconic at this point.
I think so too. I think he kind of took ownership of the whole cigars post. Like now, everyone wants to do it, right?
It was a whole like that 2019 LSU team has basically the modern day swag. They were the last champions before COVID.
Last year they were the last. Yeah, they were before the age of 33-year-old, non-Mormon football players.
Chase, that was 4 years ago.
That's insane.
It feels like it's been over a decade since LSU won the national championship.
That team just straight up changed football, dude.
Yes. That was before we met each other.
That was that was like 2 years.
That's so long before we knew each other. That's crazy. Okay? That's insane.
But we've been doing this show now for how long? Almost 3 years? Almost going on 3?
Was it 21?
Yeah, I think so.
I think you joined on April or May of 21.
I want to say it was May, maybe June of 21.
It was like late spring, I think.
Yes.
So, in that case, yeah, this is year 3. 3.5 years so far.
Does it feel like it's been 3.5 years?
It feels both like we've still just like kind of first met, but also that I've known you for over a decade somehow.
Literally, yeah. Yeah, you know who I don't think has known each other for a decade now?
Who?
Tyler Badgett and Tyler Badgett's father, because Tyler Badgett's father I don't think is more than 7 years older than Tyler Badgett.
I looked it up. He is 47.
Bullshit.
His name is Travis.
God.
Travis Badgett. Chase, I have a fun fact about Travis Badgett.
I'm pretty excited. You've been teasing me with this fun fact for now about 15 minutes. So please tell me what's
so this article
about it.
States that Tyler Badgett or Tyson Badgett does not have the best arm in the family. Travis Badgett is the winner of 30 major arm wrestling titles in his vaunted arm wrestling career throughout the ages. Started when he was 15 years old and has 30 majors under his belt.
I actually, you know what?
Still competes.
I think I heard someone casually throw this out. And now seeing him like lift one of his gigantic gorilla arms over his head to celebrate one of his son's touchdowns, I completely believe it. No, man. All right, so he was what? Because you said Tyson Badgett is like 23.
He's 23. His dad is 47.
See, man, that's what happens when you get them young sperms. Like my babies are from old sperms, and they like science and stuff. You know.
They got that nerd thing. Also, I feel like if you're a professional arm wrestler, he probably got his wife pregnant just from finger blasting her. They have a different talent.
I don't know what's more disappointing is the fact that I didn't expect that or that I laughed that hard at that. Like that should have known that was coming down the pipe at me.
Chase, let's talk a little college football, the little NFL, talk about whatever's on our minds. But before any of that, I do have a confession before getting everything. I'm a proud Midwesterner, and it is sad of me to say I have already, before the month of November, I've turned the heat on. There is heat going in my apartment right now. Couldn't leave it. Couldn't just layer up. I'm going to make the excuse that's not for me. It's for my cat.
Yeah.
But there was snow on the ground today. I decided to, no, I'm turning the heat on. I can't. I'll turn it off at night to go to bed.
Yeah.
That heat's staying on.
So it's not quite. I'm not quite at your turn the heat on phase. In fact, I think we still have the air conditioner set to 77, and it still tips on occasionally. But I 100% because it was chilly this morning and rainy and cold most of the day. Welcome to the sweat season.
Almost thought that was gonna be a dick shot.
Oh God, yeah.
Get us thrown off YouTube right away.
Yeah, Lil Bob with shoes in it, aka Lil Jeffrey Tubin.
I will say I'm probably gonna throw the heat back off. I think next week it's supposed to be in the 60s here, which is stupid.
No, it's very un-Midwestern of you to turn the heat back off.
That's fair.
After you turn it back on.
Now I just gotta deal with it.
It's on until June.
Let's go through these college football games. Starting with Chase, we had Tuesday games. New Mexico State 27, La Tech 24. New Mexico State making a run for the CUSA.
Making a run. I was on the wrong side of this. I could not keep up my midweek Malik magic. I was on the La Tech side because I have a future on them, and for no other reason other than I'm dumb. New Mexico State. I mean, they're putting it together, dude. Putting it together.
They already made a bowl. Jerry Kill's doing it, dude.
Yeah, and I love how Jerry Kill dresses for New Mexico State games because it looks like he 100% just seizured out of the deer stand.
Oh yeah, he just got out. Yes. Other CUSA game of Tuesday: Libimity 42, Western Kentucky 29. Liberty kind of sits. They're the head of the CUSA. I believe they're the only undefeated G5 that could make a New Year's Six. Besides Air Force. Don't let me forget Air Force.
Can we talk about the massive letdown factor that is the Western Kentucky playing with their swaggy blob helmets?
Yeah, we were all over that.
We were all over that, and they lost and didn't cover.
I'm going to do it a different way this week, by the way. When I get through the weekday games, then I'm going to go back to the AP Top 25 because we have to have a reaction. This is the last week that we really get to care about it.
That's right.
It's the playoff this week. Jacksonville State 41, FIU 16. Jayville State is maybe the best team in the CUSA, but they don't get to compete for a championship.
Yeah, they're a fucking wagon, aren't they?
Yeah, they are. UTEP 37, Sam Houston 34. I remember in the group chat, Eric was just nonstop texting about how much he hates Dana Dimmel.
Yeah, well, he also had a lot. He was very leveraged through UTEP.
Yes.
He believed in UTEP a lot, unfortunately for him. But
they won.
They won. They're got
not
it.
Very good.
It would be good for them. They got one.
They're 2-3 in conference, 3-6 overall. I don't know. I think Dana Dimmel might get fired this year.
I don't know how they keep giving us these games where Sam Houston State is as a team that's never won and they're favored, and you can keep getting these dogs on the money line.
I don't get it. Virginia Tech 38, Syracuse 10. What? Virginia Tech's feisty, dude.
Virginia Tech's feisty, and Syracuse is just Syracusing. I think going 4-0 and then just plummeting should be called Syracusing now.
They're actually Syracuse is the only ACC team that is 0-4 in conference.
Insane. They did
it again.
They did it, and they fooled me just like last time.
You want to know the sad thing though? I'll buy in next year too.
If Dino's there.
Oh, as long as Dino's there, I'll buy in.
Even if they make it to a bowl game, I feel like the seat is hot. Like the seat is just staying perpetually warm for the old Q's and the Babers.
I'm buying in. Dino Babers on a hot seat is second to only to Jeff Brom on the hot seat.
It's a guaranteed 6 to 7 wins a year.
Yes. Watch out though, Virginia Tech 3-1 in conference. They're in third place right now in the ACC. It's kind of mind-blowing that they're third place in the ACC right now.
Insanity, because they're not very good.
No, they're not. Georgia Southern 44, Georgia State 27. Banger. Georgia Southern, baby.
Hold on. Was Georgia Southern down way big and then came back, or was because or did they just get spanked on by or did they just spank Georgia State?
I'm looking it up right now,
I think they just spanked Georgia State.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
So they were Georgia Southern. Yeah, they just kind of spanked them throughout.
Yeah, so here's the deal. Here's why I shouldn't have been on a side in this game. Because I literally do not know the difference between these two teams.
Southern is the Clay Helton one.
I thought there were 22 friends all just running around on one field together.
Because their colors are real similar too.
Yeah. I was like, that's really cool that the B squad came out to play with them. They're scrimmaging.
FAU 38, Charlotte the Clit 16. Sad Biff Poggi this week.
Sad Biff Poggi. Biff Poggi has like big time like your aunt and your aunt's roommate at a softball coach's retreat at Disneyland vibe with like his style.
That's like real specific, but I know exactly what you mean.
You get what I'm saying. Yeah, he's that bitch.
He is. That's okay. That's gonna go some. Biff Poggi is that bitch.
He is that bitch. But I will say, it was not a good midweek for me because that is yet another game that I was on the wrong side of. I was riding. I'm disappointed in myself because like I was so caught up in wanting more Biff Poggi hype that I ignored that was an obvious fade spot.
Yeah.
To not take Biff Poggi.
You know what? They got more shots. The clip will come back.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It always just kind of, you think it's not there, then
it hides away.
Yeah, and then it just kind of like swells up and pokes out.
So Chase, I'll say this might be our last AP Top 25 breakdown, just because the playoffs do come around this Tuesday.
Yeah, and then this shit doesn't matter.
This shit don't matter at all. But here we go, receiving votes. Before that, Eric coming in the chat. Update wish list for coaching hires for Michigan State. Number 1, Jonathan Smith from Oregon State. Number 2, Dickert from Washington State. Number 3, Faulkner, who is Georgia Tech's offensive coordinator.
I like the go the exciting offensive coordinator route.
I told him it's Pat Narduzzi. He's gonna like it.
The Nardozer.
Yeah. Receiving votes, Chase, with 2 votes. Rutgers. Rutgers got 2 votes.
Fucking rank Rutgers, you cowards.
3 votes. Atop of the MAC, it's your Toledo Rockets. 6 votes.
Rocket taking off.
6 votes. The Arizona Wildcats receiving 6 votes.
They deserve it. They deserve the votes.
Hell no, did you see his tweet saying my bad for losing? Narduzzi's? Yeah, I did. I saw his post-game preference where he blamed all the players too.
That's on us. Well, it's on them, is what he said.
11 votes. Miami. The Miami Hurricane received 11 votes after another overtime scorcher with a Virginia school.
Yeah. We'll talk about that game, but yes, I think, life football's more fun when Miami's in the top 25. Put them in the top 25.
It's also more fun when they have an actual fun coach and not Cristobal.
That's also true. That's fair.
16 votes. Your Fresno State Bulldogs receiving.
A wagon. How they're not in the top 25, I don't know.
Especially when there's a team in the top 25 who definitely doesn't deserve to be there. 47 votes, Libibity.
They're perilously close to needing to be ranked, but of course, like they are also in CUSA and have played absolutely no one.
That's the issue being in the CUSA. They are undefeated, but they're in the CUSA. 54 votes, North Carolina. I'm still surprised they're receiving this many votes. Get them out of there. Get them nowhere near it right now.
Yeah, I kind of agree.
And at 77 votes, right on the cusp, Oklahoma State. Still not ranked. Still not ranked.
That's just perfect because they'll all of a sudden they're gonna skyrocket to number 10 and they're gonna be in the Big 12 championship game.
They play. Hey, Bedlam, I think is next week.
I can't wait. I'm gonna go ahead and tell you what side I'm on in that spot, and it's you don't fuck with Mike Gundy.
No,
you don't fuck with Mike Gundy.
At 25, Chase, it's the Kansas State Wildcats entering the top 25 yet again with a 41-0 waxing of Houston.
Yeah, they kind of. I think they just kind of bully balled on a team that's kind of out after that loss to Texas.
They play a gross brand of football too. Like K-State plays like a very unfun but very like bullying style of football.
True.
At 24, and I think they don't belong here whatsoever. It's USC, and we'll get into them later, but they don't belong here.
They're not good.
At 23, it's James Madison, the Dukes.
Yeah, good for them.
At 22, re-entering the top 25 this week, it is Kansas. Good.
That was such a huge win. That was such an epic game. As someone who was like on the under, whenever they let them score, all I could think was when they lost the game after they let them score was good. I'm glad you lost. Dickheads.
At 21, it's the Fighting Squidbillies of Tulane.
They deserve to be. It's just like we talked about this with K-State a couple weeks ago. We're talking about it with Tulane again. That like they were going to be back in the top 25. It's just they had to keep winning, and they would show up back in there eventually.
And we'll talk more about the game in particular. They did almost let Rice very much back in this one.
God, that is the most fucking team. By the way, I just want to say, you're aware that you traumatized me with the film The Banana Splits, right?
Oh yes, I am.
And now that you see that there's essentially just like a mainstream big market Banana Splits movie called Five Nights at Freddy's.
Yeah, based off the hugely successful video game franchise. Yeah.
Okay.
You're gonna take your kids to it?
No, God no. I'm not gonna. I can still see that lady's broken fingers on the slip and slide every time I close my eyes.
Obviously, Five Nights at Freddy's, it's rated PG-13. They really want like the younger people to come in because that's who loves the games. Not going to be nearly as graphic as the rated R Banana Splits.
Well, that's good. Okay, please continue.
Number 20, UCLA, the Bruins. Quiet, but like they're winning with defense.
Starting to make noise.
Yeah.
They got a Thor ass looking running back too. It's always, I think he needs to be a fullback. I'm sorry, but if you look like Thor, you either have to be a linebacker or you have to be a fullback.
It's a rule. Number 19, Tennessee.
Okay.
Feels right. 18, Utah. Tough loss.
Very tough loss.
At 17, Chase, it's our Air Force.
They should be much higher. They should be a cusp top 10 team, dude.
The Mountain West get no respect.
No respect, no love.
They are the top G5 team though, is Air Force.
How are they not getting any respect whenever all these Mountain West teams just like showed up to Power 5 opponents in the preseason, or not in the preseason, but non-conference games.
In the preseason.
And smoked asses.
I don't know.
Smoked asses.
At 16, it was Oregon State. Okay.
It was a tough loss. It was a tough loss for Oregon State. I think that's an appropriate drop. Like, you could see them like being kind of how, we thought that the Pac-12 was hands down the best conference in the country for a little bit.
It's still deep.
It's still deep, but it's starting to kind of come back to earth a little bit. So I could see something like wacky happening, like Oregon State completely being dropped out of the top 25. I'm glad to see that they were dropped, but it was a appropriate, like,
Yeah.
you know,
I still think like
a symmetrical response.
I think top to bottom, the Pac-12. I don't know if it's the best, but it is easily the most entertaining to me so far.
Oh, hands down the most entertaining. Which, I mean, style points count when it comes to thinking about who's the best conference.
I think so too.
Yeah.
At 15, it's Louisville.
They're surprisingly a wagon.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it. They're surprisingly a wagon. They just keep going.
Speaking of which, at 14, it's Missouri, the Tigers. Hey, they're 7-1.
I don't know. And in the timeline that I found out that we live in different timelines, because in the timeline that I'm in, they are 1-7, and Eli Drinkowitz is giving blowies for bus fare.
They're the second best team in the SEC East.
Oh, debatable.
It's gross. It's gross.
Debatable.
I guess you could put Tennessee there?
Yes, I will.
Okay. At 13, it's LSU. Okay.
All right. After not feeling like they should be in the top 25, they won with some style a little bit against Army, and
I'm basically just waiting for them to play Alabama.
Yeah, which has to be coming up because wasn't Alabama on a bye week?
I'm pretty sure it might be this week.
Yeah, I think it's got to be.
I think it might be this week. At number 12, it's Notre Dame.
That's starting to feel a little bit icky because of the close losses in a couple of these games, but I think it's probably about right.
Yeah, I think like fringe, like somewhere in the top 15 feels right for Notre Dame.
You look at what they did to Ohio State, dude. They got a big boy defense.
They do. They just don't really have like receivers.
No, they don't.
At 11, it's Ole Miss.
Quiet.
Personally, I would have
sneakily making noise.
I would have
quietly
Ole Miss
making noise
above at least the team right in front of them, if not the next two. At number 10, it's Oklahoma. I would not have Oklahoma in the top 10.
I would have them 15.
Yeah.
Ish.
And at number 9, it's Penn State.
Fair.
You cannot almost lose to Indiana. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I know, but it was also you got to consider
it's after the Ohio State game and all that.
The spot.
Yeah. Still though, I would have Ole Miss ahead of both of them.
Okay, that's fair.
At number 8, it's Alabama.
God,
it seems inevitable, right?
It's gonna happen, dude. It's gonna happen. Congratulations, Alabama, on your 2023-2024 national championship.
At number 7 is Texas, who all of a sudden is, again, wide open for the Big 12.
They're not going to win it. It's because Mike Gundy is going to win.
Mike Gundy will be our Lord and Savior and keep Texas out of the playoffs. Because I think if it's a 7-1 Texas versus, or if it's like an 11-1 Texas versus an 11-1 Bama, you got to put Texas in, right?
More TV screens in Texas.
That and they beat Alabama head-to-head.
Oh, that doesn't matter.
At 6, it's Oregon.
That happened years ago. What are we talking about?
6 is Oregon, Oregon looks great right now.
Oregon does look great, and they only have just that one heartbreaker loss against Washington. I think they're appropriately ranked. I think if more teams lose, then they could maybe backdoor. Maybe Washington goes undefeated, and we end up like backdooring Oregon and with them into the
would be great.
CFB. I would love to see it.
It would be hilarious if the Pac-12 in their dying breath gets 2 teams in the playoffs.
And they're on opposite sides, and they meet in the championship.
Chase.
Oh, yeah.
You have no idea. You have no idea how much.
Literally thought you just jizzed right when I said that.
I did a little bit. At number 5, by the way, is Washington, who in the last couple games have struggled. They need to pick it up.
But they're also the big kahuna in the conference, and they're getting everybody's best shot right now.
They're going to get everybody's best shot.
They're getting absolutely everybody's best shot, and they're winning those games still.
At number 4, Florida State took care of business. They keep doing it.
Yeah, I thought that they were going to let Wake Forest into that and let them cover, and then they decided to be dicks about it. So never forget Mike Norvell had cornrows.
Number 3, Ohio State. Kind of let Wisconsin in it. Their
Yeah.
quarterback might be hurt a little bit, but that defense for Ohio State is so good.
Yeah. That Wisconsin cover was huge. Was huge for me. Except I accidentally pressed the wrong button and was on Ohio State when I thought I was on Wisconsin. Yeah, that happened.
I would say something, but I've done that plenty of times.
Oh yeah, we'll do it again. It will happen multiple times before I die, but which is any day now.
Number 2 is Cheater Magoo in Michigan and the Wolverines. Dude, have you gotten into this story?
I just keep hearing the bits and pieces as they roll out. It sounds like he you know how like the Nazis industrialized like genocide. I feel like he and it feels nice to compare him to a Nazi.
He did write a 500-page manifesto on what he wants Michigan football to be.
See, that's very Mein Kampf-ish, and it sounds like he industrialized cheating.
It does sound like, from what I've heard, is like he joined the Marines specifically so that he could learn ways to like help Michigan football.
What?
Yeah, this man is actually like a cult member crazy.
Yeah. I mean,
he's psycho.
Considering that his fashion icon is DB Cooper with those fucking sunglasses and everything, like he literally looks like a composite sketch of a serial killer. Like,
he's a crazy person.
He is an insane person. And what do serial killers do? They do their research. They get there early. Ever hear about like the Golden State Killer would break into your house beforehand and like hide stuff around your house that he's gonna need to really just diddle you hard.
Really thought you were gonna say,
in some cases.
What do serial killers do? They root for Michigan football.
Well, duh. I mean, statistically, it's been proven.
That's fair. Also, the other scenario I'd want is like kind of on like their whole cheating scale year. I would be kind of funny to see Michigan win a national championship. On like the year that they're accused of cheating by everybody.
It would be pretty embarrassing if he had to vacate that.
Right?
Is that the most embarrassing thing?
After winning a national championship, being like actually found out that the cheating was going on and it affected everything, I think that's fairly embarrassing. It's your first solo national championship since like 1922.
Is that more embarrassing than everyone knowing that you cheat and then getting ass blasted by Georgia?
See, that'd be the other. That would be more embarrassing.
You think that's more? I think that's probably
more embarrassing.
I think that's probably what happens is you know that they've been cheating. You know that they've sent people to Georgia games and they get absolutely dad-dicked on the national stage.
Speaking of which, Georgia #1, no change there. They kind of showed it against Florida.
Yeah, and I think that going before the Florida game, a lot of people would have put Michigan, maybe even like, Georgia as low as like 3 in their CFP rankings. And I think that that's going to emphatically put Georgia back at the top.
I still think Georgia's 1. If I put any team at #1, it's
Michigan or Ohio State.
I'd probably put Ohio State over that because Michigan has the thing where they haven't played anybody. And Georgia kind of has that, but like their competition is better than what Michigan's played. Like I would take Kentucky over most Big Ten West teams. I would take Florida over most of those teams.
Right.
I would take Auburn over a lot of those teams and South Carolina, but like, neither Georgia nor Michigan have played a murderer's row. That changes a little bit this week because Georgia still has Missouri, Ole Miss, and Tennessee on deck.
Now they've played Michigan's played a sneakily good UNLV at 6-2.
Yes, and to be fair, like both these teams, especially Michigan has waxed everybody.
They have waxed everybody, but outside of like UNLV, it really doesn't look that great.
No, like ECU, terrible team. UNLV, solid win over a pretty good Mountain West team. Bowling Green, dog shit. Rutgers, you know what? Solid win against a decent Rutgers team.
Yeah.
Nebraska, any Big Ten West team, I'm just going to say dog shit. So Nebraska, dog shit. Minnesota, dog shit.
Dog shit.
Indiana, dog shit. Michigan State, ask Eric, dog shit.
Yeah.
Guess who they play next? Fucking Purdue.
Yeah. who I'm back on Purdue after I saw their band do the Bluey thing.
That was cool.
That's pretty cool.
That was solid.
So I'm doing what I didn't think I would do, which is
getting back on the Purdue train.
Yep, the Bluey brought me back in.
Back to the rest of these games, all these breakdowns. Florida State 41, Wake Forest 16. Not much more to say here other than Florida State taking care of business. This is a rough year for Wake. They usually don't have to deal with their best quarterback and like the thing that makes the offense go transferring out. So that hurts.
I think if Florida State sets the second half to coast, that that Wake likely covers in the second half. But Florida State is not about that life. They're on the gas pedal, man. I think that if they go undefeated, they've got a good chance at playing for a national title.
I think so too. I think this year it's hard to kind of discern like the top 7.
Yeah.
Like obviously Georgia has the history, and I feel like Georgia could just all of a sudden turn it on and wax up anybody. Like I just have that in my head. But like I don't know, Alabama's got a super spicy defense. Michigan, we don't know, but I still think they're really good. Ohio State's defense is incredible. Florida State's amazing. Oregon's awesome, and Washington's offense is crazy.
Right. It's going to be very tough to figure out a top 6, much less a top 4.
I'm excited for Tuesday actually to see what the playoff committee does.
Me too.
Kansas State 41, Houston 0. Like we said earlier, Kansas State is just waxing people. They're just beating people into the dirt.
Yeah, they played their way back into the top 25 quite easily, and they whipped a dead horse here. Like I think that this Houston team, I'm done considering them for any spots probably for the rest of the season, because I think not beating Texas killed them.
I think I'm done considering all the expansion Big 12 teams against non-expansion Big 12 teams, because guess what? They haven't beaten them.
Yeah.
All the expansion teams are defeated against the core of the Big 12.
Yeah, like your UCFs, your Cincinnatis, your Houstons, yep.
And your BYUs, like they're not looking great, but
it's crazy because BYU is a good team.
Yep. SMU 69, Tulsa 10. SMU coming.
Stop. He's already dead.
This was like what, 40 to whatever after the first quarter, it felt like?
Pretty much. Yeah, SMU is going to win the old American, I think.
It's going to be them and Tulane, I bet.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if Tulane's got the firepower to keep up with. I know they've got the quarterback that they're back, but like I don't know if you need to score like 70 to beat SMU.
West Virginia 41, UCF 28.
Good.
This game had one. Chase, I'll show you after if you didn't see it. This had one of my favorite picks that I've seen in a long time. John Rice Plumlee or whatever the fuck his name is for UCF, the quarterback.
Yeah.
3 picks cut in this game, not looking great. But one of those picks was hilarious. Throws the ball, the receiver dives for it, pooches it with his foot up in the air. West Virginia intercepts it and returns it for like a good 30 yards.
How did the Make Chase Happy parlay do?
It did decent. When I look back, just for everyone that knows, I'm glad I took Texas A&M out of it.
Oh, thank God.
So West Virginia did well. They beat UCF.
Yeah.
Tennessee obviously beat Kentucky. And the Saints beat the Colts. BYU over Texas was not going to happen.
That didn't happen.
And Mississippi State over Auburn did not happen.
Did not happen. No. Well, it's a winning record for the Make Chase Happy parlay, which makes me melancholy.
Kansas 38, Oklahoma 33. Banger of a game. Back and forth. A Jason Bean-led Kansas. And the craziest thing, Chase, is this was not a bigger story. Because that just shows you what Lance Leipold's done at this Kansas team.
That's true. It's not like they haven't knocked off teams before at this point. They've got such a good core of because they didn't really lose anybody in the transfer portal this year. they've got such a good core, such a good line. Like Luke Grimm is still slinging bath salts out in front of a Casey's on a BMX bike with a thin gold
Damn
chain
right
and a
he is.
wife beater. Man.
I
Yeah,
love this
dude.
KU team.
Me too. Yeah. I'm very proud that we beat that KU team in the Libibity Bowl last year because they're a tough team.
They're a good team. They're back at the top 25. Oklahoma, if you ever listen to Eric, they were a very fraudulent, undefeated team.
This
was a bad defense.
Yeah, but coming up now, this is the fade spot again for Kansas because they crept back into the top 25.
Oh, this is very much a fade Kansas proposition. I don't know who Kansas plays this week. We'll get into that on the pick show or whatever.
Yeah,
but this is very much in a fade Kansas spot.
Yeah.
Jason Bean's incredible. This is also shout out. This is Kansas's first win against Oklahoma since 1977.
1997.
Sorry, it's 97. Yes, you're right.
Yeah,
when Oklahoma was bad in the 90s.
Still a very long time. I think you were just born.
I was born 3 years prior.
Jesus fucking Christ.
Penn State 33, Indiana 24. Penn State struggled. I am the fool that took Penn State minus 31.
You're my new thing I like to say, which is you're that guy that has that ticket in his pocket.
I did, and I didn't feel good. Penn State struggled this entire game. They had like one decent big play, and that's it.
Yeah.
Northwestern 33, Maryland 27. October, Maryland, baby.
Let's go. How big was this win for us as a people?
Chase, I think this just confirms everything that we know about Maryland. They could look like if the national championship was held in September, Maryland would be undefeated. They'd be the best team of all time.
If you had an annual September 30th national championship, they would be the greatest
dynasty we've ever seen.
Program of all time. Absolutely. Yeah.
It's literally like clockwork. I can't believe it's every single year they just fall apart.
How about that call by us, though, man? How about that call?
That was
a good one.
That was ballsy.
We've hit a few. That's another like 4-1er that we've hit this year. When you add in like the Burtonings and such.
Literally, I'm just looking at their record right now. September 30th, their last win, and guess what? All the wins before October, dominant fashion.
Yeah, right.
And then just loss.
Yeah, man, it's baffling.
And guess what? They might not win again because they play Penn State. They have to go to Nebraska, which we'll talk about later, Michigan, and then at Rutgers.
It's going to be funny when they don't make a bowl game.
It's going to be very funny when they don't make a bowl game. Texas A&M 30, South Carolina 17. A&M just kind of like owned this game.
Yeah, I mean, who cares?
South Carolina does not really have an offensive line.
No one should care about this game, so let's not talk about it.
Boston College 21, UConn 14. Gross.
Yeah, UConn definitely on that auto fade list. Boston College, I think, we're going to talk about making like a D-Gen top 5. I feel like Boston College just might be in mind because they're pesky.
They're pesky, maybe as a dog.
Yeah, pesky dog.
UMass 21, Army 14. I was on the under in this one, but this happened not for the reasons I think. Army couldn't do a goddamn thing in this game.
Dude, basically what it boils down to for Army is like, can you guard their quarterback? If you can stop their quarterback from doing anything, like they're the worst team in FBS.
Awful.
If you let their quarterback get out there and start just like running wild in the option, they'll jump up and they'll beat you. Like look at what they did to UTSA this year. Jesus Christ. That was like an excited Norm Macdonald. Jesus Christ.
This one pains me. Western Michigan 45, Eastern Michigan at 21.
WT the fuck.
Yeah.
But Western also way to go Directional Mish.
Good job, Directional Mish.
Directional Mish. Pulling it out.
NC State 24, Clemson 17, and Dave Dorn said it, we're not a fucking basketball school.
You say it, Dave Doran.
I loved it.
I like that his name is constantly tossed out for coaching vacancies, and that hire never happens.
No, he's like the most milquetoast guy on the planet, I feel like, for the most
Pretty
part.
pretty much. It's like everyone's just like Dave Dorn.
Perfect for NC State. And Chase, I should think you should take a lap for your
Oh,
Clemson
this
call.
this guy.
Clemson is 4-4 right now. Might not make a bowl game.
Listen, Clemson is going to cease to be a thing. Just like I don't think Alabama is necessarily going to cease to be a thing, because I think they'll eventually adapt. But I don't think that Dabo is ever going to adapt.
You don't think so? Like the one thing that he has to do, and if you're the AD at Clemson, the one thing you really like, Dabo has all the power, so the AD really doesn't have any options.
Yeah, he is the AD essentially.
Yeah, you need to use the transfer portal, and that's like the one thing Dabo's refused to do.
Yeah, pretty much.
The two things he doesn't want to do: use the transfer portal and use NIL.
Exactly.
Guess what you need to do in this version of college football are those two damn things.
Yeah, and so what's going to happen is until they get rid of Dabo and find somebody who's actually game to play the game as the game is played these days, Clemson's going to cease to be a thing, and it's going to be pretty embarrassing for them until they get rid of him. And yeah, like, does it feel good to predict a man's downfall like this? I mean, I can't lie. Hell yeah. Hell yeah, it does.
It's gotta feel so good.
Really good. It feels excellent.
It's gotta feel good in your bones.
Oh yeah. And like my bones are cozy because I got the sweats on. It's like I'm a living campfire right now, Jim.
Memphis 45, North Texas 42.
Dude, speaking
Points.
of pesky football teams, North Texas.
I might put North Texas in there, dude. They're frisky.
They are a frisky team.
Oregon 35, Utah 6. To go into Utah, I don't care what the quarterback situation at Utah is. I don't care what injuries they have. To go into Utah and dominate like the way the Oregon Ducks did is most impressive win of the week.
Yeah,
hands
and
down.
It was not like it was a passive Utah crowd that they were walking into at Salt Lake City. Like they had, game day was there the day before. Pat McAfee was there. Like it was a big game, and yeah, dude. Like maybe you just need a head coach with that small dick energy. Like
it's
maybe
working for him.
It's that like
So
2.5 quarter roll of certs. Is
small
doing the
dick
job.
energy or Mario Cristobal. Which one are you going with?
Oh, does Mario Cristobal not also have small dick energy? He's a big guy. I mean, I get it. Like
It maybe in relation to his body size, it's small.
it's like it's completely average, but compared to
Proportionally
his size
small
of
dick energy.
To yeah, yeah. What PSDE? So SDE and PSDE for both of them. Yeah, no, that's fair. Okay, I'm with you.
UTSA 41, ECU 27. ECU might be the worst, like, FBS. They're so bad.
They're bad. They're bad because they're definitely the team that I previously had said was the worst team in FBS.
Yep.
Is turning into a wagon with a fucking genius tactician.
Damn right they are.
Guiding them.
App State 48, Southern Miss 38. App State loves it. It's the classics every game.
It's arrogant, Jim. It's arrogant at this point that they're spotting teams like Southern Mississippi 31 points just so that they can win in an instant classic every single week. It's arrogance, and that's going to come back to bite them.
If you have not watched an App State game this year, you are doing yourself a disservice. This team is nothing but pure, like, adrenaline. It's like doing a line of Coke as a football game.
Yeah, dude, but just don't turn it on until like halfway through the third quarter.
No. Turn it on at the end. They always act crazy.
That's where you get the bump. Like otherwise, you're going to be jonesing. You're going to be jonesing hard.
Yeah.
For a long time before it really before the guy shows up and you get to chop up a few lines.
Miami, Ohio 30. Ohio 16. You all called me fools.
I didn't say anything because I refuse to act like I know what you know what? You know what? You know why I should have been on your side and why this makes sense? I told you like a couple years ago, I figured out how to handicap Maction. Take what I think is logically, sanely going to happen and do the
Do
complete fucking opposite of it. And bingo, you have how to handicap Maction and win.
Miami of Ohio sit on top of the MAC East currently. That could all change in an instant because the month of November in the MAC is absolutely fucking wild. We get into the full Maction days.
Yep.
Chase, this week, I think we have Maction on Halloween night.
I feel like that's like Maction opener, isn't it?
I think so. I think that is. We have to bet like every game. I have to bet everything on every game.
Yeah.
On Maction Halloween.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's got to be the spookiest ever.
Well, does that okay? So the question is it like a double screw job, like because it happens on Halloween?
A double negative.
Yeah. Does it make a positive? Like does the favorite just favorite it up?
We're gonna break our brains trying to bet.
You're gonna break our
Maction.
brains. I think I'm right though.
Iowa State 30, Baylor 18. Baylor, aside from the new entries, Baylor's the worst team in the Big 12.
Yeah, and Iowa State. All I can say is just what the fuck, Iowa State.
Guess what?
I don't no
Guess
idea
what?
what
They're alive for the Big 12 right now. It's stupid.
They're gonna beat Texas.
I told you. I called you.
They're gonna beat Texas.
Speaking of which, Texas 35, BYU 6. God damn it.
This is a good football team. I'm not giving up on thinking BYU is a good football team.
They are all or nothing. This BYU team is all or nothing.
They're a smart football team and they catch everything. They catch everything.
But when they're not on, they are just awful. When they're on, they can compete with almost anybody. When they are off, they are god awful.
Yeah. I think they have to get like a little bit tricky early and then like with like a throwback, they
need to catch someone off guard early.
Yeah, they have to get like and then they really start like feeling themselves and that's when they do it. Oh man, they're showing Tyson Badgett at the Manning passing camp and I'm telling you, man, this kid was he's in his picture, he's wearing a beanie and he's looking like Jay of Jay and Silent Bob. This kid's gonna do gay porn, guarantee.
Probably.
Yeah.
Miami, Florida 29, Virginia 26. Feisty Virginia. Miami gets it done in overtime again.
Miami did not deserve to win this game.
No, they did not.
Virginia might be the feistiest team in FBS.
Are you putting them in your D-Gen top 5? I think we should.
I think a lot of these top 5s are going to be teams that like I have completely ignored, but now that I go back and look at them, like I'm excited about them for the feisty for the second half of the season.
Especially teams that like look terrible to start and are coming in hot now.
Yeah.
Louisville 23, Duke 0.
Ooh.
It was a fun season, Duke, but
yeah, you hurt your Riley Leonard. Like it's not on you.
He's
like,
real hurt.
He's real hurt. It's not on you. It's not on Steve Elko. Like, it's just kind of – you'll be back next year when you have a quarterback out of the transfer portal or if the next guy steps up.
If they can keep that defense next year, they're going to be so dangerous.
Yeah, dude. They're a good – it's a good program. Like, the only thing I think that endangers them continually taking steps forward every year is Mike Elko, like, not going somewhere else.
Yes, I agree 100%. Notre Dame 58, Pitt 7. This was notable for Pat Narduzzi basically answering saying, I think he answered the question, we don't have the players. Like, our players aren't good enough, basically, in so few of words. Kind of throwing his players under the bus.
Way to go, the Nardozer. Yeah, dude, just I get it. You're not as good, but you don't ever say.
Also, like, who recruited those players that aren't as good? Like,
you've been there you've been there a few years, Pat.
That's still on you, bud.
Yeah, man.
Nebraska 31, Purdue 14.
Your childlike wonder and whimsy through the course of this game was my everything on Saturday, Jim. It was like getting messages in the group chat with Uncle Rico that was like, Nebraska's doing things.
And they're good.
and they were good. Like good special teams things happened. It
A
had to be
field goal block for a touchdown that Nebraska blocked and got the touchdown? What?
yeah, pretty cathartic. Had to feel pretty good, huh?
It felt real good. It felt real good. Again, start the game super slow. Nebraska started the game with a fumble on the kickoff to give Purdue good field position. But this Nebraska defense, I will say, I'm going to say it, it's legit. This Nebraska defense is good.
Hey, man, and that quarterback, all they needed was some of that Kearney cow shit magic, you know?
Heinrich Harburg is a very Midwestern name.
It is a very, very Midwestern name. Was it Kearney that smelled like cow turd?
No, that was like outside my hometown because there's a feedlot right there.
My bad.
In between Kearney and Minden.
That's right. That's Kearney's like where you get off the highway, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's where you get off the interstate.
That's right. Yeah.
Nebraska, I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna jinx it right here, Chase.
Probably
gonna make a bowl game.
I think they are. I mean,
need one more win out of Michigan State, Maryland, Wisconsin, and Iowa.
There's a win there. There's a win somewhere in there.
It's a November Maryland, so.
Yeah, I mean, we saw October Maryland against Northwestern, November Maryland. Oh,
I'm also just going to say, I'm going to lay this out there. Alive for the Big Ten West.
How good does that feel to say?
It's very stupid. They are currently in a 1, 2, 3, 4. It's a 4-way tie for first in the Big Ten West between Iowa, Minnesota, Nebraska, and Wisconsin. With Northwestern right behind us at 2 and 3. Northwestern's not out of it yet.
But tell me this, outside of Nebraska and Wisconsin, the two red and whites, who has more upside? I don't think anyone else does.
I think Iowa's I would say Nebraska's offense is better than Iowa's offense because that's not saying much. I will say Iowa's defense is probably the best unit in the division.
They might be one of the best defenses
just in the country.
In the country, straight up.
Yeah. So like that, I think that can give them a leg up on just about everybody. But hey, guess what? This would be Nebraska. If they do make a bowl game, when they make a bowl game, this would be Nebraska's first non-losing season since 2016.
Are you say somehow they managed to pull out winning the Big Ten West and go to the Big Ten Conference Championship game,
waxed,
and get absolutely ass blasted. Are you just okay with second because you don't want to go? Do you kind of want to go, or do you not want to go and get ass blasted?
I'm fine either way. Like whoever goes is getting ass blasted by either Michigan, Ohio State, or maybe Penn State at this point.
So someo's got to get ass blasted. Why not?
Someone's got to be. Might as well be us because I think you still get money for making the championship game.
That's a good point. That's something that I never think of, but yeah, that's a good point.
And like, hey, at least we made the championship once in this decade before they get rid of the division, right?
Before it becomes nearly impossible.
Before it gets really, really hard for anyone who's not like Michigan or Ohio State or Oregon or Washington to make the Big Ten championship game.
Listen, man, I feel like I'm in that exact same spot as an Arkansas fan. Like, I feel like we're never gonna win a national, especially with the way things are shaped up now. Like, we're never gonna win a national championship, dude. Like, let's not kid ourselves anymore ever again.
If you can make like 10 wins every once in a while, you can maybe argue that you could get to the playoffs.
That's literally all I want. Like, do you understand what having Oklahoma and Texas in the SEC is about to do to us in recruiting? Like,
it's going to fuck you guys over hard.
We're going to have to pay a lot of money to get to ever like sniff the college football playoff. Like, we're going to have to like Los Angeles Rams YOLO it.
You might, hey, you have one of the richest alumni.
Yeah, like we're gonna have to like agree to not be like eligible to give people scholarships for like 20 years afterwards. Just kind of like, this is our one shot.
You're gonna really have to like bank in for like 2027.
Yeah, dude. Yes, exactly.
Auburn 27, Mississippi State 13. Moving on. Minnesota 27, Michigan State 12. Michigan State had shots in this game. I think Eric coined it in the group chat, like maybe one of the worst coach teams in the land.
They don't have anything, dude. Like
Scrap the year.
it's not even coaching. They just don't have anything. They don't have a quarterback. Yeah,
They got
it's
nothing.
done. It's done. Sorry guys. Try it next year.
Georgia 43, Florida 20.
I
I thought this was going to be a game for one drive.
I was all over this one, and I too thought this was going to be a game for one drive, but they covered that 14.5 with ease. I just kind of I feel like they literally let themselves sleepwalk until they were like, all right, now we have to start playing. Now it's Florida, now we have to start playing, and they just
like they kind of get to that point in their schedule, like, okay, we've got like 4 or 5 games left.
Yeah, we're right where we thought we would be. Now let's like tighten this shit up and no one lose focus.
Next week against Missouri is big.
That is big. Like I think that they put themselves back into number 1 in the college football playoffs, beating Florida. I think that they beat Missouri back to back and convincingly, like they just did. And I think they're pretty well cemented as number 1 at that point.
I think so too.
It would take a loss, and they would still probably make it.
USC 50, Cal 49.
How are they this bad? They won, but how are they this?
They won,
bad?
But also, like I was listening to this game on the radio. I was feeling old timey.
You're one of God's better angels, Jim.
Well, I don't have the Pac-12 network. How else am I going to fucking absorb this game?
You are what you're a resourceful young man. You are the whole Buffalo, and things like this is why I love you.
I was listening to Berkeley's broadcast of it, so the Cal broadcast.
Yeah.
It seemed, at least from their version, I was very appreciative because this is the end of the Pac-12. They were going in on the refs.
Nice.
Hard.
Yeah, what are you going to do? Find me? You don't exist.
This had one of the dumbest instances I've ever seen when I went back and like rewatched highlights of it.
Yeah.
So going into half, the refs like forget that there's time on the clock. So the teams go in for half. They go in at halftime. The refs determined there was a second left. So before the second half begins, they say, "Oh, there's a second left."
They have to kneel
USC
for the 1
can come
second.
out and kick a field goal.
Oh my God.
But during the halftime, like warm-ups and everything, USC's kicker is standing at the spot where he has to kick the field goal and practicing over and over and over and over again. So then they come out. He goes to kick the field goal for the 1 second before the second half.
Oh my God.
Cal's coach, Wilcox, ices the kicker, and then he ends up missing the field goal.
Don't you... Jim, don't you love college football?
It's so dumb. I love it.
Don't you love college football? How can you not be romantic about college football when shit like that?
Especially the Pac-12. This was the most Pac-12 game ever. On top of the fact that it was on the Pac-12 network so no one can watch it.
What's great though is with them like being defunct soon. I feel like you're right. Like the broadcast people, like the coaches, like why are you going to worry about getting fined? Like if it's me and I'm the coach and you send me a fine in the mail and I know that you're not going to exist.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to pay that.
Especially if you're like Washington State or Oregon State. Like since you're the ones getting fucked more than anybody.
Yeah. Like,
I would burn it down.
Dude, like seriously, the Pac-12 trying to find me, it would be like, I don't know, like Napster trying to come after me for like subscriber money or something. Like, you don't exist. I'm not paying you.
USC basically needed Cal to like give this game away is also what I'm saying at the end.
Yeah, pretty much.
Cal was up 14 in like mid fourth quarter.
Jesus Christ.
It was this. Alex Grinch should not be hired anywhere.
I'm gonna just venture to guess after that loss, those sandwiches, that one place that you really liked, just didn't taste quite as good.
Not quite. Tulane 30, Rice 28. Rice clawed their way back into this one. Hooty hoo, they covered. This was a decent game at the end.
I still need the anthropomorphic Jim Owl for these Rice games.
I'm gonna see what I can do. It's gonna be a long week for me.
Yeah, but you remember why I said I wasn't gonna touch this game? Because Rice is fucky, and so because Rice is fucky, and you jumped on the Rice is fucky angle. I said I don't want it because Rice is fucky.
Louisiana 33, South Alabama 20.
Louisiana 33.
And guess what, Chase? Louisiana's sitting second in the Sun Belt West.
Yeah.
If they beat Troy,
I might have to eat my words that Louisiana Lafayette isn't going to be a thing anymore now that Billy Napier's not there. Turns out they might be.
They're feisty. 5-3 right now. They're a feisty team. They're obviously they're not as good as the Napier days, but he took a lot to Florida. Credit to them.
Yeah, and I think also they just had the benefit of catching maybe a bipolar USA team on a down performance.
This USA team is pretty weird. Arkansas State 34, ULM 24. Shout out your Arkansas State boys. Nice pick there.
Wolves up. Shout out my Arkansas State boys. Shout out the greatest head coach who has ever walked the earth. Who one time, whenever Sully Sullenberger hit a goose and they needed a spot to emergency crash land, he actually laid that thing right down on top of Butch Jones's flat top hairdo. Not much to say other than I am a genius. That's it.
Yes. Boise State 32, Wyoming 7. This was a tough one to swallow.
Sad.
I think this is where our Wyoming, where we unhitch our wagon because I think we're done.
I know you didn't ask for one-word takes, but I'm so sad that all I have is a one-word take, and that one-word take is sad.
It's sad.
I'm sad that this happened.
Fresno is very much now alive for the Mountain West.
Oh, of course they are.
Right back in it.
Wagon.
Coastal Carolina 34, Marshall 6. The sad news coming out of this is it looks like Grayson McCall might just be done at Coastal Carolina. He got hurt last week, didn't play this week, and it sounds like from what Tim Beck was saying, you might not see any more Grayson McCall at Coastal Carolina.
Is it like an attitude thing, or is he just done with football?
I don't know.
Because he got hit so hard that he threw up last year.
Yeah.
So I know Homeboy's had some damage done to him.
No, I don't know. It might be. I don't know what the whole situation is, but you're at least not going to see him at Coastal Carolina.
Well, that's sad.
It is sad.
We like Big Bird McCall.
Fuck yeah, we do. Tennessee 33, Kentucky 27. Chase, sometimes good things happen.
Yeah, and I mean, I've been living in this timeline where good things happen every week, and Kentucky's still winless.
Are they on a little bit of a losing streak, aren't they?
Yeah. Any other questions that you have regarding my timeline?
Trying to see. 1, 2. It's a 3-game losing streak. And they still have to play Alabama.
You know, my timeline that have Whataburger, but they're all called what? Burgers.
Is that how you pronounce it in your timeline?
Yeah.
Washington 42, Stanford 33. Washington has this is like a double game hangover. That's how big the Washington-Oregon game was. It was a double game hangover. They got to stop letting these teams hang around.
They do. I'm afraid they're going to get the undue,
Do you think the playoff committee is going to rank a one-loss team ahead of Washington?
I hope that they don't, but I could see it happening.
I can see it, right?
It's the whole, I think that they're getting the reputation of maybe playing down to their competition, but I think the fact is that they're just getting everybody's best shot. I
think so too, and I don't know, there's just a little vibe shift after that Oregon game. They'll bounce back. Troy 31, Texas State 13. Troy laid it on them. And this is not a bad Texas State team.
No, it's a pretty good Texas State team. Troy's what you expect Troy to be, essentially. Yeah. Just a good Mountain West team. Or sorry, a good Fun Belt team.
Probably going to win the Fun Belt.
Probably.
Air Force 30, speaking Mountain Best. Air Force 30, Colorado State 13.
They need to be top 10, dude.
Air Force is good.
They are good. They struggled this game, though.
They did. and still won by, 17 points?
Yep.
Yeah. Ohio State 24, Wisconsin 10.
Big time
Ohio
cover.
State's defense is legit.
By the hook, big time cover. Except for that I accidentally bet Ohio State. Well, let's not talk about
Whose
this
quarterback
game.
might be hurt. Let's just move on. Ole Miss 33, Vanderbilt 7. Yeah.
We're at the football game. We're at the construction site. We're at the combination football game construction site.
UCLA 28, Colorado 16.
It's Chip Kelly.
Yeah, Colorado they don't have linemen.
No, but look out when they buy their linemen next year.
Watch out.
Oh God, they're shopping for linemen the same place you buy Escalades.
Yeah, because like Shadur Sanders has looked good, and he's kind of trying to do everything, but he has no time. This team will be good next year if they can get the linemen. This team is good.
Dude, they're gonna have there's gonna be so much NIL money in their both offensive and defensive lines next year. It's going to be
I have
stupid
for this Colorado team is their coordinators getting poached. Because I do think a big factor on why they've been like so hype and successful, especially on offense.
Yeah,
I'm worried about their coordinators getting poached. They could probably refill pretty nicely, but I think that offensive system, like the way they've kind of schemed around stuff, is a big reason why they've looked as good as they did early on in the season.
I don't know. Like, I'm not sure. I don't know how deep Colorado's pockets actually are, but I'm getting like the impression that they might be limitless. And because of that, like, I'm pretty certain that I'm not as worried about it because I think that Colorado is going to absolutely fire the money gun at any problem.
I didn't know Colorado had the money gun.
Dude, I mean, if you look at like the cost of living and everything in like Denver and how much like it's skyrocketed,
it is crazy.
That's all University of Colorado people, like you know what I mean? Like
that's fair.
Just like when your town is affluent, people want to spend money on their football team because it's the front porch of your institution.
Yeah, that's fair.
God damn, I'm just poetic sometimes.
Also, UCLA is winning this with defense. Their defense is salty. Arizona State.
I got way too deep there. Can I just round this out by saying it's Chip Kelly?
Arizona State 38, Washington State 27. Great week for the Arizona schools. Just going to say that off the bat.
Yeah, Arizona teams may never lose again.
Yep. Georgia Tech 46, North Carolina 42. Haynes King, baby.
Haynes King and North Carolina doing that Mac Brown thing of letting one loss turn into multiple losses.
Old cheese dick, baby. Best defensive coordinator in the country. We turned a new leaf. This is a new North Carolina defense.
Cheese dick.
It, in fact, was not a new North Carolina defense. Oklahoma State.
That man has a national championship ring.
Blows my mind.
Dude.
Oklahoma State 45, Cincinnati 13. Watch out.
Wagon.
Watch out. Number one in the D-Gen top 5, Oklahoma State.
Hands down.
God, this team's fucking... Oh, Chase, we called it. We called it so hard.
Yes.
JMU 30, ODU 27. Game. Feisty.
Dude, ODU's pesky. Look back.
Especially at home.
Look back at the last just handful of results that ODU has gotten, just not only at full time, but also at halftime, and tell me ODU isn't pesky.
Nevada 34, New Mexico 24. New Mexico's terrible. I'm sorry, Eric, but they are awful.
Yeah.
Awful.
Yeah.
Fresno 31, UNLV 24. The Rebs almost did it.
Well, and
they were
we were also on the right side of it. At least they covered a number that was way too big. That was way too big of a spread. That was 9.5. Like,
yeah, over a touchdown was crazy for this game.
Yeah, once it closed over a touchdown, like that should have been just like hammer time for a lot of people. But I think I don't know. It just proves that UNLV is pretty good. Fresno is really good, and this is a really deep conference.
Mm-hmm. We've believed in Barry Odom since he got there.
Pretty much.
Arizona 27, Oregon State 24. Like I said,
beautiful. Just Arizona teams may never lose again.
They may never lose again. And I was really wrong on this one. San Jose State 35, Hawaii 0. That was a really fun 2 weeks where Hawaii looked feisty.
Do you remember how excited we were about our get out Hawaii plus 10.5 there?
Yeah, Chase, I do.
Yeah, that was bad for us. That was suboptimal.
It was not. Yeah, it was very suboptimal.
Suboptimal.
Ready to breeze through the NFL?
Let's go.
Bucks Bills. Bills win 24-18.
I didn't. Oh yeah, this I remember
Thursday
watching a little bit. Yeah, the Bills let him sneak back in, but they're much the best there.
Panthers get one. Panthers 15, Texans 13. They get the dub.
I kind of thought that the Texans were going to pull away. Didn't do it. Let them back in.
Yep. I agree. Also, shout out Panthers. Like, this game doesn't really matter for you whatsoever because you don't get a pick. You might as well win all you can.
I just want to point out, this is one of the few games. This is the kind of knowledge that I get because I have Red Zone and watch it now. I want to point out that in this early slot, this is one of the very few games where you had the starting quarterback in the game at the end of the game. Like, there was a lot of people that either went down or were out, or all in that early frame.
Rams 20, Cowboys 43.
Man, like, if the Cowboys had this like step on your throat mode every single game, they would be undefeated, but they don't. Mike McCarthy is fucky.
Yep. Vikings 24, Packers 10. This was one of the games where a quarterback did go down.
Yeah.
Kirk Cousins.
He might be actually on them perks tonight. I'm not sure what happened to him. Did you? I know he was
looked
on the
like
card.
a non-contact knee injury, which is worrying.
That's always that's the old ACL or something, or a meniscus or a PCL or MCL.
They were actually on the cusp of like looking pretty decent, and they still had a very real shot in that division.
Yeah.
Packers are just bad.
Yeah.
Saints 38, Colts 27.
We did it.
You scored more points than I thought this Saints team could.
I think that I get ready. I think the faucet is turned on with Alvin Kamara back, because if you just look at how we finished against the Jaguars and then this entire game, the offense has been live for like 6 quarters now.
It's been clicking.
Yep.
An audio turn on for me. Patriots 17, Dolphins 31. Guess what? As a starter, Tua still undefeated against Bill Belichick.
Amazing. I think it's because he had to play for college Bill Belichick before he played against Bill Belichick, so he knows all like the tricks of the dark side and everything. I thought this one was going to be an under, but no, you guys kept your foot on the gas and got it done. I know. I mean, what are they on top of the AFC East at this point?
Currently sitting on top of it right now. I still think the Dolphins are potentially on fraud watch. Obviously, all the teams they've beaten, none of them have a winning record. The teams that do have winning records, they kind of got dominated by a little bit.
I don't know, man. I keep hearing that Tyreek Hill it might be injured, and the fact that he's still out there shredding, I kind of think.
And we got Jalen Ramsey back.
Yeah, and who I believe had a pick today.
He did have a pick for a really good pick.
Yeah, like I said, I was on this one as the under, because you think that Bill Belichick's going to take away the best thing
they did last time. They did really good in the last game. They did a really good job of like limiting Tyreek and limiting the offense.
Yeah, and they made the adjustment, and Tyreek just fucking shredded again, like he does to everyone at some point.
I think the way to really get this Dolphins team is to have a dominant defensive line.
I think so too.
I think being able to pressure Tua is going to be like a big factor in what like causes this team.
I think that what's going to happen, I'm more concerned with them running into teams with these like kind of like super linebackers, like your Micah Parsons types, because And it doesn't have to do with the pass rush. It has to do with the lateral quickness because it's so much of that run game like is not like up the middle. It's all like probe the sides, and then just like bust you up the middle with something. And like I think you have to have like a linebacking core with a lot of like sideline to sideline lateral quickness to keep them from like just breaking those run plays the fuck open.
Yeah, if you like, you saw it with the Eagles game. The Eagles completely limited the run game. I think if you could stop the run game for the Dolphins, it is hard.
Hard, yeah.
Hard. Jets 13, Giants 10 in overtime.
This was a Undertaker Tombstone special.
Yeah, it was.
Another game where you lost a starting quarterback.
Yeah, you did. And my boy Tommy DeVito came in. I think he threw for -1 yards.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Let me see if I can find the box score here. Stats. Let me see it right here. Yeah, Tommy DeVito 2 for 7, -1 yards.
Tough, Tommy. Tough. Sorry for your luck. Bless your heart.
Yeah, this was a very disgusting game.
And as an Undertaker, I take pleasure in these dirty pig boy games.
Yes. Jaguars 20, Steelers 10.
Travis Etienne is a fucking monster.
He's a fucking beast.
I'm gonna toot fantasy horn real quick because I have three of the top 10 players in fantasy on my roster. 3.
Feel good.
Yeah, I got Jalen Hurts, AJ Brown, Tua.
Nice.
Yeah,
Nice.
and then ATN.
At a fucking boy.
Sitting just outside there along with Mostert. I'm just saying. I quietly built a juggernaut.
Falcons 23, Titans 28.
Yet another game where another starter bites the dust, and our boy, XFL legend Taylor Heineke, gets the playing time in Atlanta.
If he starts, he wins. I'm just going to call that right now.
Yeah.
Will Levis actually looked good, though. I will say it. It's hard to say. Will Levis did look pretty good for the Titans.
Listen, I feel like at some point we made the prediction that Taylor Heineke would be starting this week or next week in lieu of Desmond Ridder.
I think we did say by week 10 for sure.
Yeah.
Eagles 38, Commanders 31.
This was a heck
Banger.
of a ball game.
It always is.
Sam Howell did work. Once they get a line in front of him, I kind of think the Commanders are going to be pretty.
He has so many weapons.
I just kind of I like who he has, or who Riverboat Ron has around him. But at the same time, like, they're under this new ownership group with, like, you know, Magic Johnson and shit. And it's like new ownership groups like to put in their guy. Like, and so, like, I'm afraid they're going to lose Riverboat. They're going to get rid of Riverboat Ron, and they're going to lose some of the cool things like Bieniemy and things like that. And the Commanders will just go back off track again.
I'm worried too. Browns 20, Seahawks 24. I salute PJ Walker getting a loss. It sucks. It hurts.
Yeah, this was a push for me. I was on Seattle to cover. It was a letdown spot for Cleveland big time after that win against Indianapolis last week. Yeah. And I mean, to be fair, in the eyes of the gambler, they tied.
It's true. Ravens 31, Cardinals 24.
Talk about, dude, if you are a Ravens backer, that was a bad beat. I personally was a Arizona Cardinals backer, so that was a good them going for the field goal when they were down 10, knowing that they had to get the field goal at some point, was just fucking chef's kiss, my fucking boy.
Chiefs 9, Broncos 24. Maybe T Swift was the magic all along.
Patrick Mahomes loses to fucking Denver for the first time in his career. That's insane.
Maybe T Swift was the magic this year, Chase. She leaves. Her era's like international tour began this week. Couldn't make it to the game.
I think that she somehow gave Patrick Mahomes the exotic flu that he had that had him sick at game time.
Yeah, the Chiefs look rattled in this one.
Not only did she give him the exotic flu, Travis Kelce was really fucked up about the whole situation.
Also, this kind of pisses me off because now I'm really worried about the Chiefs next week with the Dolphins.
Oh, because you get him in the rebound spot?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's tough.
Yeah.
That's tough. I would not be on the Dolphins there.
I wouldn't either. Bengals 31, 49ers 17.
Did Brock Purdy just get his head knocked on and now he's not Brock Purdy no more?
No, he's just like, remember Tua post-concussion? That first game he came back, he obviously looked a little slow. Like, they're just rushing these guys back in.
He obviously looked slow and then briefly looked like
died.
Like he was no longer sentient.
Yeah, I don't know. This 49ers are in an interesting spot right now.
Yep.
Bears currently 7, Chargers currently 30.
At the
Fourth quarter right now.
In the desire to have action, I ended up siding with the Bears, even though this morning I was like, you should stay away from this game because it is a rookie QB getting his second start. Now they have tape on him. They're going to show him things he hasn't seen before, and it's going to fucking wipe his hard drive, and I should have listened to myself.
True, but also, like, it's so easy just to think of how dumb is Brandon Staley.
Yeah, that's the thing. That was the thing was I couldn't be on the side of the Chargers either because Brandon Staley is a dumb shit.
Yes.
Like that was literally otherwise I am if Brandon Staley isn't the head coach of the Chargers, then I'm way on the Chargers this entire game.
For sure.
Yeah.
We're both riding with the Lions Monday, right? Against the Raiders.
Oh, in that bounce back spot? Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah.
I think they'd probably end up mashing. Though you do have to worry about the bounce back spot for the Raiders also because they lost to Chicago, and you have to wonder if they've got Garoppolo back or if they're starting Hoyer or not.
They said Garoppolo is starting.
Garoppolo is starting. What's the spread?
That is what McDaniels has said.
What's the line? McDaniel. What's the line in that one?
Let me take a look-see right now. The line is tomorrow 7.5 towards the Lions. They are the home team.
That's a big number.
That is a big number. So the over's 46.5. I might just bet the over.
Dude, if it's his back and he's back playing, like it means that it's just kind of back to being manageable, which means it still sucks.
But Jimmy G's been like perpetually hurt his entire career.
I mean, it's true. I don't know, but he's also had like weapons around him his entire career. He doesn't have shit right now other than Josh Jacobs, and they seem like not intent in like not using him for some reason.
That and
Mayer and Hunter Renfrow and Devontae Adams, I guess.
Yeah, they got Devontae.
It took me a minute to work to it, but eventually I got there.
And I will say, after this week, Chase, I will have the spreadsheets updated right now. I don't have them updated for how we're doing on our win-losses.
When's the last time we...
Week 4 for college, week 3 for the NFL.
Okay, what were we? What were our records at that point?
Okay, so let me take a look real quick. Let me open them both up. Oh, come on. Let me open them up.
Open them up, Jim.
Look at Austin Husky there.
See, that he got from Taylor Swift.
It's true.
We already unpacked this.
So week 4 of college ball, Chase. There in week 4.
Austin Husky, I think you're a new face, so that was a harsh tone for me to take initially. Please stick around. Continue watching.
I went 46-21, hit 68.66%. You went 42-25, 62.69%. In NFL, we went to week 3. I went 9-5, 64%. You went 7-7 at 50% in week 3 of the NFL. But that's also not including, I didn't include the Sunday night or the Monday night game. So, again, I got a lot of work to do. I'm going to try and get this tonight.
I like where your head's at. I like where your head's at.
Yeah, you did, Austin. Yeah, you did get your asses whipped.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
That's it for football. Chase, is there anything else you would like to talk about before we dip out of here?
Let's see. I've got essentially as soon as we get done with this, Breeders' Cup week starts for me.
It's gonna be a busy week for you.
Yeah, I've got content every single day with the podcast,
Woo!
Notorious OTB. For talking tomorrow, we're going to be doing post-draw morning line odd reactions after they draw the entire field with Andrew Champagne. On Tuesday, we're going to be talking about 2-year-olds to watch on Future Stars Friday with Jessica Tugwell. On Wednesday, we're going to be talking about the Euro shippers to keep an eye on with Mal Bamford from the Premier League gambling podcast. So he a Euro too. Then Thursday, we're going to do like a Breeders' Cup betting challenge, $10,000 budget. Me and Barry talking about the Friday card.
I love your budget shows, dude. They are so fun.
Oh, thank you. And then you'll be glad to hear that we're going to do the exact same thing for Saturday. And I've got Matthew DeSantis and Sarah El Bodway joining me for that one. So we're going to make a little tournament out of these.
Hell yes. Y'all know what I got going on. Spring Fever on Wednesday with Eric. We're breaking down the CFL playoffs that are coming up. The regular season has ended. It's done. There's maybe some little rumblings on XFL, USFL merger talk. And I'm working on a little something. So I'm going to get a little something for you.
I love your little something.
We'll see you guys next week for the Jimnasium. Again, back on Sunday nights. Be ready. Be there. We love you. Toodaloo.